I've created a library called Dynamic Captions. I've already added assets to this. If I load these assets, which are separate dynamic captions that will display these values, I'm going to add all of them to the timeline. And Control-Shift-7, and if I play this, let's see what you get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add more dynamic captions to this collection. The reason we're doing it is that you can only use one dynamic caption asset in the same project at a time if you want to have a different value for it. For instance, in this example, I have 5 different values for the dynamic captions, 001 through 005. They could be words. The words could be, "This is a special test," anything like that. So in order to have the flexibility of using multiple custom dynamic captions in the same project, you need a separate library asset for each one of those instances. I want to create dynamic captions library assets for numbers 006 to 010. I'll do that using voice narration to create the waveform that holds the narration, enunciating the numbers. I need to do it a little early. In other words, if I want to start with the number 6, I'm going to actually start with the number 4. That makes sure that dynamic captions will kick in correctly. So we'll start with number 4 and we'll use voice narration. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We'll stop there. Save this. Control-Shift-7. Let's play this to see what we have. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we got them all. Now, I need to add dynamic captions to this clip before I trim them up to go into the library. So what I'll do is use the C key to go to dynamic captions. I have a profile I like to use. I'll add that, right-click to the timeline. You can see that the captions have already been added automatically. And I'm going to play through it and see what we got to make sure that the numbers line up with the words. 4, 5, 6. All right, I can already see that the numbers are off and we're missing the first one. So let's do some trimming here. Let's make some space. These things here are pauses. You'll want to put one of those in your library. I have one myself. However, let me move these out of the way. And I think this was 6. That was 6, so I'm going to pull this down to there. Let's get rid of this thing here. This will be 5. And now if I go back here, 4, 5, 6. All right, I can probably throw everything here forward away. So Control-Shift-X. Now I just have to line the rest of these up. And let's move these things out of the way temporarily. I'll end up deleting them. This should be 8. This should be 7, 6, 7, 8. 9 looks like he's in good shape, and 10 is too. 11 I don't really need, so let's play through it again. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so I'm going to trim off back here, but I want to make this a second long, so let's put a split here. S key. So we've got this split off, and I want this to be a second long, so let's trim him back to a second. There we go, second long. Let me slide this guy out of the way. Split all those guys. Split that guy. Put him back there. So this should be a second long. It is. And I'll trim off the rest of this stuff. Control-Shift-N, Control-X. That cleans up the very end. Now we just got to clean up the stuff in between. Now, we have a bunch of these guys. These are pauses in the display of the caption. If I slide down here, you see 666, and there's this guy. Now it blacks it out till we get to the next one. We need to get rid of those because we don't want them in this particular asset. If you don't have one of these in the library, make a selection and add it, but then you want to, if you're safely in the library, then select this guy and delete him. That way you'll have your asset number showing the whole way. Now I'm going to continue on down here. I got to get rid of this, 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 this. 7 obviously is going to start here. 8, 9, and 10. So let's go back to the beginning. And if we play 6, 7, we're seeing all these guys at once. We're not going to want that. So what we're going to do is pull off a second of clip and then Control-Shift-S to split them all. Now you'll just see your number. Then we'll select these two guys and drag them back to the beginning of 7. Do the same drill. We'll pull off a second of clip length. Control-Shift-S. Select these two guys again and drag them back right before the 8. Advance. Once more, section them off into 1 second length. There we go, Control-Shift-S. Select these guys again. Trim him back. And once again, make a selection 1 second long. Control-Shift-S. Select these two guys. Trim. And then mark off a section here. 1 second long. Because I want my assets in the library to be a second. Control-Shift-S. Now I can literally select these guys and delete them. And to clean up what's on the line here, Control-Shift-7. And let's use magnetic on both these tracks temporarily to line those guys back up. Send playhead home and let's play this. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now what I want to do is align these captions with the very beginning of each clip or section. Even though they're at the very beginning, you won't see them until you go back 1 frame. So we're at the beginning here, I have to go to the right one frame, and then you see the number. Now I'm going to go to the Captions user interface. Select that. It's number 6. I'm going to make this 006. So click 006, and I have to click out of it to save it. I'll do that with the rest of these. Select 007, save, double tap to select, select 008, tap out to save, double tap, select 009, tap out to save, double click, tap 010, click out to save. Now I need to add these to my library. So we'll go back to the R key. I'm going to do number 6 through number 10. And so with this guy here, it's Control-Shift, Alt, right arrow, and then Control-Shift A. We'll call this 006. Enter key, Control-Shift D, Control-Shift Alt, right arrow, Control-Shift A. This will be 007. Enter key, Control-Shift D collapses, Control-Shift Alt, right arrow, Control-Shift A. 008. Enter key, Control-Shift D, Control-Shift Alt, right arrow, Control-Shift A. 009, enter key, Control-Shift D, and here is Control-Shift N key, Control-Shift A, 010, enter key. I now have library assets for numbers 6 through 10. And let's clear this guy out, delete key, and let's select these guys. With the playhead at the beginning, let's send these 6 to the timeline. Control-Shift 7, just for the heck of it, and let's play this and see how we got. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we've got that. So now we've created another 5 dynamic captions assets for use in projects.